Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to Popping Our Cherry on Two Dads One Console, where Callum and I challenge each other to play the games that we love that the other has never played before. The kids are tucked up in bed, so now we're playing Resident Evil. Today, can a traumatic video game review well? Find out now.
Resident Evil.
In the same format as how you executed your review for Ocarina of Time, what's your nutshell review of this particular game?
I love it. It's day one survival. It's the survival horror starter, isn't it? It's a game that, using its own limitations, successfully created an incredible horror game. You know, it uses tight angles, atmosphere, limited resources, everything like that to create a suspenseful and scary adventure for you, the player. And I think it's brilliant. It's not my favourite Resident Evil game by any stretch of the imagination. 2 and 4, I think, are both better. But you can't deny that this is where it started, and this gave rise to the games that I would then go on to love more than I do this one. So I'd have to give this a very high score indeed. I don't know if I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I don't. Yeah. There's very few games I would give a 10 out of 10, and I don't know if this is one of them, but it'd certainly be like a 9.
Right. Well, hold that thought. So before I kick off, I thought we would. I did take the time to.
Oh wait, don't. I took the time. There were just no bad reviews.
No, yeah, I'm not saying that you didn't take the time. I'm just saying I did take the time to go through and read some of the user reviews on Metacritic for this game.
Lovely.
The ones that I've picked out, because obviously it's riddled with people who are reviewing it like a sane person.
Yeah.
You know, who are reviewing it as objectively as they can.
Yeah.
With as much understanding and as much consideration for the fact that it is a 30-year-old game.
Yeah.
Albeit remastered or whatever.
Yeah.
Here are some of my favourite ones.
Okay.
Where
What was that?
I don't know what people were thinking really, other than maybe to, review bomb just for the fun of it. Milo's Gaming, Milos A Gaming. I'm not sure how they're pronouncing their username. Gave it a 2.
A 2 out of 10?
A 2, yeah, it's Metacritic,
Wow.
so it's out of 10. User review says, Resident Evil 1, while undoubtedly influential in shaping the survival horror genre, its outdated controls, laughable voice acting, frustrating resource management, and aged graphics make it a title that fails to live up to the exaggerated praise it often receives.
Right.
While it may hold a special place in the hearts of those who experienced it in its heyday, which I don't know if it's spelled wrong or not, actually.
Heyday is H-E-Y, isn't it?
Oh, it's spelled right then. Well, nice one. Modern gamers may find it difficult to see beyond the rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia. Do you know what? That in itself, the writing is not that bad.
Yeah.
But then to give it a 2, is I think is very harsh.
Because we said, I said this on my review. People often get reviews wrong, I think, because they'll say something like, "Oh, it's a very average, bland game. I sort of half enjoyed it. Blah blah blah. 7 out of 10."
Yeah.
Or they'll say, "Do you know what? It wasn't a great game. 1 out of 10."
Yeah.
1 out of 10 means
Shocking.
if a game is 1 out of 10, it means you can turn it on and there is something to play. That's it. That's what gets you a 1 out of 10. Anything on top of that is then extra score. But 1 out of 10 means it functions as a game, but has nothing else.
Here's a blinder. Charlie Low Gamer says, trash game, bad gameplay, story is confusing, mansion is also confusing. The hype for this game is stupid. It's not that good, to be honest. I can see some qualities. However, it was pretty much qualities that were great in that timeline.
Oh, you're about Jill's qualities?
Maybe. It's overrated, and don't listen to mindless fanboys for this game.
Don't listen to Milo.
0.
Zero.
0.
So 0 out of 10, let's get this clear, means that the game does not function.
Yeah.
Something can only get a 0 out of 10 if it doesn't work.
It's not fit for purpose.
Yeah.
Kent Koo. I am probably too late to the party, but this game did not age well at all. How on earth is this game the most high-rated game among user scores? I don't get it.
Is it?
Gameplay feels not smooth at all, kinda clunky. Story is meh, but likeable characters at least. The mansion is cool, however, it feels like a chore to backtrack often. The game is also very hard because there is hard to find ammo and healing items. Overall, it's safe to say that you probably have to prepare that this is an old game and don't expect anything great. 2.
2? What's... the people don't know how to rate stuff is the issue.
There's 2 more zeros, and I'm going to read these ones because they're cracking. So, Dengiz, bear in mind, give it a 0. Cultured review this, hold on. He's like done asterisks for his swear words, so I'm going to fill them in based on what I think he's saying.
Right.
This game, bullshit. Controls are shit. There is too little information for missions. Roaming around for hours. Too much zombies. Too limited ammo. And too limited ink ribbon.
Too much
surprise. Zombies. Awesome survival horror experience. You people are pathetic.
Who's he on about?
When I read that one, it reminded me of that guy off Come Dine With Me. You know,
your little sad life, Jane.
Yeah.
Do you know what? He gets a lot of hate for that clip because obviously he comes across as a prick. Yeah. But Jane's a dick in that whole episode. Jane is a dick. He's right. That guy's right.
I never watched it. Like, I used to get subjected to it by my mum, and Courtney sometimes used to watch it, but I never watched it.
Yeah, so. he always gets obviously called out for that clip because he's coming across as a proper sore loser.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jane's a proper dick.
And then lastly, Gino Bonvino.
Oh, nice, cool name.
He gets points for his username, but he gave it a 0, and it just says, this game isn't for the new generations and is getting old. The mechanic and the cam are so wrong. It's a bit unfair, that, innit? This user score stays on Metacritic for all of time.
What do you give it?
0.
So it don't function.
A 0 because he doesn't like that it's an old game, even though
Why did he put it on?
Yeah.
Why did he, right? So I'm assuming he played it around current... I don't know when the review was from, but I'm assuming he played it around current time. Why did he bother? He must have known that it was an old game.
Yeah. But anyway, my review. Start with section number 1. So what I've learned that I absolutely love in recent years is a gameplay experience where, rather than a story comprising a list of linear objectives where the destination is placed on your map telling you where to go,
right,
you are placed in a world with next to no lore or perhaps a small amount of background narrative informing your next move.
Yeah.
Like, you just start where you start and the game says, here's your escape room, start solving puzzles and piecing together the lore and story yourself. The only caveat to that statement is that if you're going to make a game like that, because you don't have to look far for one nowadays, is that the story that you piece together has to be really compelling and really interesting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, going out of your way to explore and find items that expand your understanding of the story or the lore aren't worthwhile, and you won't do it.
Yeah.
For example, and this is coming from me that is a heavy, heavy fan of the Legend of Zelda series, perhaps fanatically so.
Yeah.
I think Breath of the Wild does that. Like, you wake up in Hyrule 100 years after a cataclysmic event that devastated the world with no memory.
Yeah.
And you're just thrown into this, like, amazing world, and essentially told, off you go, piece together the story through exploration in whatever order or direction you like. But the story that you discover or the way in which the story is told in that game isn't very interesting, in my opinion. Obviously, that's subjective to me, and perhaps it's because I'm personally not a fan of the you are in the present, piece together what happened in the past that led you here style of storytelling, where everything and everyone you're finding out about as you adventure around are not in this world anymore because they're dead.
Yeah.
I'd just like to take this moment to state for the record, in case anyone has started sharpening their pitchforks, that I still love Breath of the Wild. And it is one of my favourite games of all time, but just not because of the story.
Oh, no.
You sucker. By comparison, Elden Ring drops you into the world with a massively brief overview of why you're here, and the rest is up to you to figure it out. You know what your core objective is, though at first you may not really know what becoming the Elden Lord means.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of the lore you can uncover by interacting with the characters and the environment is about characters that are there in the world with you,
Yeah.
and the enemies that need defeating, or not if you don't want to.
Yeah.
So Resident Evil for me was more of the Elden Ring style of story.
Okay.
And what makes it all the more impressive to me is that Resident Evil was released 26 years before Elden Ring. Resident Evil was released in 1996 for the PS1 originally, a platform that was revolutionising the gaming industry by introducing true 3D gameplay with its new level of processing power, despite that processing power being laughable by today's standards. I'm aware that Resident Evil takes a lot of its story and execution inspiration from the video games Sweet Home and Alone in the Dark, as well as films like Dawn of the Dead and The Shining. Have you seen The Shining?
Yeah.
I haven't seen
really
The
like
Shining. You know, I've never seen it.
It's good.
I love Jack Nicholson as well.
Yeah.
What I really loved about this story is that you're given a minimal background of why you're here. Spoiler warning for anyone who decides to watch this review before either watching our playthrough or playing the game themselves.
I should have really put spoiler alerts on the Ocarina of Time review.
Maybe.
But I didn't.
I find it altogether unlikely that someone's going to watch this before either, playing the game themselves or watching our complete playthrough of it. But just in case. So you've got S.T.A.R.S Bravo team, a tactical rescue team, were investigating a string of murders in the Arklay Forest area surrounding the Spencer Mansion when contact is lost, which prompts the S.T.A.R.S Alpha team, consisting of Jill Valentine, woo, what a lady, woo, Chris Redfield, woo, what a punk, Barry Burton, Joseph Frost, Brad Vickers and Albert, the knobhead Wesker,
Boo,
to be deployed to the location to find Bravo team. The opening cutscene shows Alpha Team exploring the nearby forest, finding Bravo Team's crashed helicopter with the pilot dead at the scene, and are then attacked and chased by a pack of wild dogs into the nearby mansion. When you first start the game, you are given the option to choose one of two playable characters, Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine.
Ba, ba, ba.
I chose Jill, so anything I mention about story or gameplay from this point will be relevant to Jill's playthrough. The first section of gameplay begins with you in the main foyer of the mansion as Jill, and you are accompanied by Wesker and Barry. You are instructed by Team Captain Wesker to go investigate noises coming from the west wing of the mansion, giving you a small nudge in the correct direction to first travel, and then off you go. You're then at your own liberty to uncover plot points about the cause of the mutated creatures in and around the mansion based on your own amount of exploration. What I love about the story is that despite very questionable voice dialogue and character expression in the cutscenes,
and much worse in the original. You've only played the remake.
I've done some research leading up to writing this review.
There's a bit in the original. So in this version, Barry gives you a lockpick, doesn't he, as Jill, and he says like,
Are you gonna...
here you're much better at lockpicking or whatever. In the original game, he says something like, "Here, Jill, you're the lockpick master."
Yeah.
Or something like that. It's like, what?
He also, what's that thing he says where it's like, "Oh, this weapon's dead good, especially on living things."
Yeah. Such weird dialogue, isn't it?
Yeah, so, despite the questionable voice dialogue and the character expression in the cutscenes, which is understandable given its age, the story is incredibly strong, and as time goes on, you learn about a mole within S.T.A.R.S that not only is a double agent in your team trying to bury what has happened at the mansion, but they were part of the research team involved with experimenting with the bioorganic weapons that led to where you are now. The game does such an incredible job considering its huge limitations in terms of character movement, expression, voice acting, etc., of telling the incredible story through environment, suspense, scary suspense, and hidden diary entries from different people in the mansion. I think the biggest compliment that I can give about the story of Resident Evil is that, as everyone is aware by this point, I'm guessing, if they've got ears, I'm not the most avid consumer of the horror genre. In fact, I'm not remotely a consumer of the horror genre. I don't watch horror movies. I don't play horror games. I don't enjoy the genre at all. I don't enjoy sitting in the comfort of my home or the cinema only be challenged not to shit myself as something appears out of nowhere and the music suddenly intensifies.
You don't enjoy weeing your pants, do you?
No, yeah, never been fond of it. Call me a germaphobe. But I never know. It just isn't for me. I like being made to laugh and I like being made to think. That's it.
Yeah.
So my biggest compliment is that in a game that firmly established itself as the daddy of survival horror, the story and its execution left me wanting more from the moment that I started playing.
Lovely.
People might not believe that if they watched me.
This guy really don't want to be playing this game. Why is this friend forcing him?
Genuinely, it was like a guilty pleasure that I craved, yet hated myself for wanting it because it went against everything I believed in. At the core of this environment of horror is a murder mystery with plot twists and traitors, which is everything that I love. And it's clear to me now why, regardless of its survival horror genre, that Resident Evil is such a successful franchise. Or at least if the following games are similar to this one anyway, or most of them are
2,
similar
3,
to this one.
4, not 5, not 6, 7 and 8, yep.
But yeah.
And then possibly 9, judging by how good the trailer was.
The trailer's so scary. This particular aspect of review is difficult for me, as it was for you with Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, it's just hard to do for an old game, innit?
Yeah.
I don't know why I picked design as the choice.
Well, it's difficult, and it's because one of the layers of challenge for us was to go into our first-time experiences with these video games, trying to see them through the lens of the era in which they were released.
Yeah.
It was important not to compare the games with all of the incredibly powerful modern games available for us today, but to try our best to appreciate what these games did at the time that they were released. Added on to that for me was an additional layer of difficulty in that I was playing a remaster of a remake of the original game that came out nearly 30 years ago. So, for the purposes of not being overly critical and trying to remain positive, but still have a sprinkling of what I believe they call a journalistic integrity.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak as if the remaster I played was still in the era of the 90s, if that makes a bit of sense.
Okay, yeah.
It's because while the graphics of this game are wonderfully modernised, the cutscenes and dialogue are still effectively their 1996 version, just updated to look a lot nicer as they're happening. What Resident Evil did masterfully, considering the PS1's limitations, was create a game world that does an amazing job of building suspense and intensity that was genuinely scary, at least to me. What Capcom managed to do... It is Capcom, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Capcom, yeah.
What Capcom managed to do with this game is say to themselves that the graphics of the PS1 are only so realistic, so they had to find additional ways to scare the player while they navigate the mansion. This aspect of the game is what I, as a keen horror avoider, struggled with. And I mean that in a good way.
It's a rarely talked about group, innit? The horror avoiders.
Yeah. But I think there's, I think there's plenty of us around. I reckon I could start a Facebook group, maybe.
We number in the dozens.
Yeah. Start a Facebook group or a Discord.
Discord for horror avoiders.
Yeah. We all just like to laugh and eat.
Adam Sandler's in the Discord.
Yeah. The game's ability to increase your heart rate by using fixed camera angles, meaning you are at the mercy of the game as to what you can see when you first enter a room or when you turn a corner in a corridor, is an incredible feat of design in a gameplay world that had yet to pioneer the second analog stick camera control mechanic.
The PlayStation wouldn't have even had analog sticks, would it?
Well, no,
D-pad?
The analog gamepad. I can't remember the DualShock. It wasn't called the DualShock, I don't think, was it? The first one. But that first one with 2 analog sticks for the PS1 obviously came out long after the PS1 had already been out for a while.
Yeah. Ape Escape was like the first game you could play with it, wasn't it?
I didn't know that.
Because Ape Escape, you use the right analog stick to swing the net to catch the monkeys.
Ah, right.
So if you didn't have a newer DualShock, you could play it.
Wow. Yeah, I'm aware that Resident Evil wasn't the first game to use fixed camera angles to inject challenge and suspense, but the way in which it was done in this game, is flawless in my opinion, as evidenced by me complaining probably every single episode, if I'm not mistaken, that whenever I walk into a room, I can't immediately see what's in there with me. The Remake remaster only embellishes these achievements with improved visual design of the environment and characters to buttress the fixed camera angles. When it came to the characters, I would say that the design of each human character is fairly generic, but that's to be expected when the human characters are a tactical response team in uniform.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan that despite it being nighttime, as well as being indoors every time you see him, that Wesker wears his signature sunglasses throughout because he's too insecure to remove them.
Legend.
Pussy, innit? He got absolutely sapped by the bioorganic weapon, just like you're going to get sapped by this boy over here.
What's he got that way? Oh, well.
I think the zombies are designed very well.
Oh, tits.
They obviously suffer from all essentially looking the same, like variant to variant. I mean, I don't mean that the entry-level zombies look like Crimson Heads. I mean that all the entry-level zombies pretty much look the same. And all the Crimson Heads look the same, R1. But that's to be expected on a hardware that had the limitations it had. I feel that the key target will have been to make sure that you could tell the key difference between a zombie and a human.
Yeah.
Which through design and movement as well as sound, you certainly can. I don't have a massive amount more to say on design because I'm not well versed in the topic of horror themed design.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that there may be a lot of people out in the world who really appreciate horror and may even see this game as not scary or something crazy like that. But the game did scare me.
Yeah.
I take this moment as well to shout out the creative navigation of processing limitations, such as the load times between different sections of the map being overlaid with a scary animation of the door opening to complete blackness. And you walking in, that was a detail that didn't need including and could have just been a generic black loading screen, like nearly every other game does.
Yeah.
But Capcom found a way to further build on the suspense by embellishing the mystery about what you were about to walk into. And little details like that are what stand out in the long run. I complained about the difficulty of reviewing design through the overlapping lenses of an old game, but it's remastered, but I have to pretend I'm reviewing it in the era of release, blah, you know, that whole thing. But I think the gameplay section is hardest to review while taking all of those things into consideration. Yeah. Now, there's a lot to understand here. I played the Remake remaster. The GameCube remake upgraded everything and was then remastered. It added cutscenes that were not in the original, and it also re-recorded all the dialogue, and it recreated the cutscenes to be FMV rather than live-action recordings that the PS1 version was. The reason that I bring that up is because one of my larger bugbears with this particular video game is the character interactions in the cutscenes, as well as the in-game dialogue.
Right.
I feel that the dialogue in the game creates a disconnect between the character's personality and what they're saying. For example, in the cutscene where Jill overhears Barry talking on the phone, she questions him about it only to blindly believe the first unrealistic answer that he comes out with. And let's not forget my most egregious scene in the whole game that got me fuming, where she's talking to Enrico who's wounded on the floor for him, and then he got shot while he's exposing the mole. And then she just doesn't do anything. She doesn't take cover. She doesn't look around for the shoot and nothing. So this is a woman who works for a tactical response team. There's a gunshot and she doesn't move, essentially. It's a nitpick and it doesn't impact on the overall game experience. But it's hard to call that anything other than it feels stupid to say this because I'm not a game designer or anything, but to call it anything other than laziness because the devs couldn't be asked putting the extra effort in to make Jill act like a real agent would if someone opened fire in the area that they were in. But the most annoying thing about not adding it into the cutscene isn't the resulting lack of authenticity, it's the fact that it makes Jill look overly lackluster and devoid of character.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating that in 1996 you were able to choose to play as a female lead character only for her dialogue and cutscene actions to leave her looking and feeling so boring and vapid.
Yeah.
She's great, she's awesome, but the cutscenes don't do her the same justice as I did, as I strutted fearlessly around the mansion with no jump scares whatsoever. But outside of this, I genuinely think the gameplay is very solid. There are obviously some actions that could have been more modernised, such as pressing the action button at a door to unlock it, only to have to press it again to open the door.
Yeah.
Or being able to discard non-key items in your inventory to create space instead of being stuck with what you have. But overall, I had no issues with the gameplay at all. The experience was...
Forgot all about this guy.
albeit completely terrifying, a great one. And the way this game was made, it's no wonder that it's generally considered the best of the survival horror bunch. Capcom really smashed it out of the park, and I would go as far as to say that I think this is one of the best first games in a series that I've ever experienced. I would like to give a shout out to one of my favourite things about this game, and video games in general, which are the puzzles.
Hey.
The puzzles in this game are fantastic, with varying levels of challenge. What I love is that I found that every single puzzle except one was satisfyingly challenging and provided you with the information needed to solve it if you looked hard enough.
Yeah.
The one exception being that room where you had to push the statues holding different weapons back into place.
Quite obtuse, that one.
Yeah. Pushing them back into place in the correct order based on the unintelligible photos hanging on the back wall. I have no idea if I ever would have figured that one out without help, because the pictures didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was something glaring that we were missing. I'll leave it to the audience to let us know in the comments if that's the case, but I don't know. Puzzles are one of my favourite aspects of the video games I play and one of my favourite forms of entertainment. You'll all notice, based on the games that I continue to recommend to Cal, that puzzling is a consistent theme running through a large percentage of them. What was doubly satisfying for me was that not only were there puzzles in the game, but they were the exact kind of puzzles that I love to figure out, and not like the kind of puzzle where it's like, oh, here's a generic maze of waterwork pipes, turn the pipes around so that the water is flowing from the correct start point to the correct end point, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, these puzzles aren't like that. These are...
They're sort of like escape room puzzles, aren't they?
Yeah, these are more cerebral.
Yeah.
These were like standard, something here's wrong, you need to figure out how to put it right.
Yeah.
And that just resonated with me massively, and I really loved them. Except the statue one.
Yeah.
And lastly, one of the other things that I really appreciate, though I will not be capitalising on, is the replayability of this game. Firstly, there's the obvious challenge of replaying it just to finish it with both playable characters and experience the subtle differences in story and gameplay that each character offers. But the amount of optional exploring and enemy interaction that the locations in the game offer are incredibly ahead of their time for a game that debuted in 1996.
I'm really lost.
Now, I'm not a horror aficionado, as we may all be aware by this point. But the sound design in this game is the quintessential factor that makes it, or that made it as scary as it was to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for all people. I'm not speaking for all people in any part of this, but I imagine that people who listen to this and go, "Oh, this is not scary," oh, I'd listen to this to go to sleep. No, you wouldn't. Don't lie. I'm obviously not as indoctrinated in a background in musical production as you are, but what I think makes the game so chilling is using the atmospheric music at the right time and not too much. What I do admire about it, though not while I was playing it, is that you can be exploring a corridor minding your own business, and then the music just suddenly intensifies with this horrifying effect, and you'll know that you're in danger.
Yeah, there's a lot of stings in this game, isn't there? Like musical stings that signify something's happening.
Some of them are terrifying,
Yeah.
I won't lie. But it doesn't always do that either. Often it's the lack of music that's your guide to whether you're safe. Opening every door and listening instantly to if you can hear other footsteps or horrifying scuttling or scratting to inform you.
Good word for the
I had to get it in there.
Console, isn't it?
Yeah, I had to get it in there. To inform you what's with you in that room, since the bloody camera doesn't let you see the room. I've little else to say on the topic, really. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any downsides to any aspect of the sound or music in the game, unless you count character dialogue, but I covered that in the gameplay section, so I won't repeat it. I'm sure there are many people who have much more experience in the genre of horror or the aspect of music production or sound design that may have suggestions on how the sound in this game could be improved, but I have nothing to say. I think it's top tier, and my persistent levels of fear and suspense while playing are evidence of just that. You're very brave. Obviously, it goes without saying that my review on this section is based on the 2015 HD remaster of the GameCube remake, because that is what I played. The graphics are top tier. There were obvious limitations to the graphics of the original, the PS1 game, although I still think they did a great job with what they had at the time. The remake offers striking improvements in areas such as atmospheric lighting, realistic textures, characters, weather effects like lightning.
So, just as an aside,
Yeah.
as Jill you get a lockpick, as Chris you get these.
Old keys.
So you get an old key that you can open one of those doors with, that you could open every door with a lockpick.
Oh.
So yeah.
But you get the permanent lighter as...
Yeah, so it's obviously swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, additional features such as the little moths in certain areas that add extra levels of creepiness to the environment and more realistic blood effects. The game obviously benefited from such a significant graphical bump because you were dealing with enemies with a very distinct appearance that isn't found in real life. So the modernised graphics allowed for Capcom to remake the game with the zombies looking much closer to how they intended, rather than the 1996 original, where they do look like zombies, but they're not really that scary.
It's one of them though, isn't it? Like my grandma always says, you know, not Amityville Horror. What's the sort of OG horror movie?
I don't know. The Exorcist?
The Exorcist, yeah. She says that was like the scariest thing to her at the time. But
Yeah, well,
when you watch it now, it's not really that scary now,
no.
is it?
Well, I did write that in. I put that I would put an asterisk at the end of that sentence to accommodate for everyone who played it in 1996 when it first came out and like found those PS1 zombies immensely terrifying. But what I also wrote is that I think most of us can agree that in today's era of stunning hyper-realism, that the PS1 enemies are a bit less terrifying. I think the visual team need commending for the great efforts they went to improve the areas of the game with exceptional detail. I don't recall any section of the game where I was in an area where I noticed any like shortcuts or laziness in terms of graphical rendering of like the environmental detail. Like, look,
the environment always looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to seem like I'm talking down the original, because I'm certainly not, and I understand the limitations of the PS1, and I know that Capcom were pushing those limitations as well when the first Resi came out.
Yeah.
But by comparison and relative to what we can achieve today, the PS1 mansion, if you were just walking around that mansion, no enemies inside it, it's not scary.
So light.
Yeah, it's not scary at all. It doesn't even matter that there's no enemies in these corridors that you're walking now. Yeah. It's creepy.
Yeah.
It's so creepy.
Right.
They just did such a great job. Yeah, so and that's what I wrote, you know, considering the limitations the PS1 had in terms of its graphical power and textures and stuff, they made every effort to really deliver the experience as they probably imagined it during the game's conception.
Yeah.
Again, the biggest compliment that I can give is that the locations were creepy as all hell, and I didn't like them.
I didn't like them.
If the next Resident Evil game that I have to play isn't set in like the Dragon Realms from Spyro, then I don't want to play it. Because, you know, what a lovely environment that is.
The cloud one from Spyro 1.
What a lovely environment it is. It looks very nice in the Dragon Realms. I'd like to live
Spyro
there.
one's so bright. It's beautiful.
Lovely, bright, colourful, nothing creepy.
Oh, we're at overall score already?
Yeah.
I thought your review were much longer than this.
No.
I think mine were longer.
See, I wrote loads, but you can say it quite quickly.
All right, so what can I do? Yeah.
So yeah, overall score. I've been thinking about how I'm going to give this overall score.
Right.
Because what I found myself asking myself is, do I score the game based on my interpretation of it as a survival horror game? Do I score it as an overall video game? I believe that if I went to journalism school, they'd teach me to do the latter and to score it as an overall video game.
Yeah, the way I scored it is my how I felt about the game. Mm-hmm. So when I did Ocarina of Time, it was what rating would I give it as a game? If I ignored all of the games, what rating? Look at this really like a romantic
album cover that you've got going on
but
there.
the Ocarina of Time one, what would I score this game if I ignored all present day graphics or everything I've played before? Basically, if you were in a room with nothing and the only thing you knew was the game Resident Evil, what would you score that game out of 10?
Yeah.
Memories all alone in the moonlight.
All you need is just raindrops dripping down the window.
Like the bit from Friends with Joey,
Joey's
where he's looking in that little ornament.
Chandler's sat at the window, and Joey's just looking at the ornament with the water that drips down. But the reason that I sort of said that is, like I said, I'm going with judging it as an overall video game because I think it's more...
Because if you judge it as if you judge it as a survival horror game, it gets a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just about to say, and that's the reason that I'm doing it the other way, because I want it to be more...
Oh, what am I doing?
What I don't want us to do is to just sort of, like, kiss each other's arses about the video games that we loved and go, it's 10 out of 10.
Oh, your game that you recommended was perfect.
Yeah, it's brilliant, it's 10 out of 10. No, if I was rating it as a survival horror, I mean, it's the only one I've got to go off.
Yeah.
But it would be 10 out of 10 anyway. I think it terrified me all the way through, but at the same time, it was a great video game.
Yeah.
It was 10 out of 10. As an overall video game, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a reasonable score.
I will, like I just kind of said a minute ago, but I'll just add in that I can't imagine playing a survival horror game that I think is better than this.
You're in for a treat.
I hope not. I know that, like I said, I know that may be naive, considering it's the only one that I've played, but there are a lot of preconceptions that I had before I started playing this game that never came to pass, such as being made to jump for jump's sake.
Yeah.
Etc. But what I was given instead... Where's he gone? Where's that?
He went to bog.
It's nerve-wracking time when someone just comes and drains your bathwater when you're chilling. What I got instead was a video game with a thrilling storyline, multiple intertwined subplots that were equally as interesting, a story twist revealing the traitor in the cast and his...
Cannot...
What did you do?
We're just really struggling with camera.
Oh, I feel so sorry for you. That's terrible, that. Can't imagine that. I can't imagine. Revealing the traitor and his ambitions, sinister ambitions. Like, great cerebral puzzles and inventory management that caused me, the player, to really think about each move carefully and with purpose, albeit with help.
Just think if you'd have played as Chris.
No, thanks. And an enemy roster that weren't in the game for no reason. Like, I don't think there was anything in this game for no reason except for the goddamn spiders.
Yeah, I really like the enemies in this game because they're all different. You start off with the zombies and you think, well, this must be it. This is like, well, this is terrifying. And then you get bigger zombies and you're like, well, shit, they can't get any bigger than this.
Yeah.
And then you get like... a big snake, spiders. The hunters then come into it. What else? The fly things.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, which I hadn't even considered or written down, but thinking about it, one other thing that I think is done really well, and I don't know if it's the same in the... exactly the same in the original as it is in this, is that each new classification of enemy that grows in difficulty, mostly, comes in at pretty much a really good time.
Yeah, they come in when you've just got used to...
Yeah, you first...
Like, by the time you got used to, like, getting round the normal zombies, they then introduced a different...
Crimson Head.
Yeah. And they're hunters and stuff, and you have to adapt your play style.
Yeah. It's never too soon, except the spiders, which was way too soon, because it should have been never. Each classification of mutated creature had an explanation, Nothing was put in for the sake of just putting it in, like I was saying. I've even written the spiders obviously weren't necessary and were a cruel addition that left me literally shaking while I played. But it is a horror game after all.
That'd be, if you were doing your Metacritic review, yours would be like 1 out of 10.
Yeah, 1 out of 10.
Spiders.
Had spiders. That is all. I guess one last critique I will give, it just to try and include everything I can remember, is that I think the final boss was a little easy.
Yeah, you really astonishingly did. Not astonishingly, like I thought you were going to do crap, but you managed to figure out not an almost cheese for every single boss, where you just led them round and just mutilated them before they even got anywhere near you.
What do you think I'm going to do? Just let them get me? But that being said, I'd like to include the caveat that I did have you as a guide.
Yeah.
And without you, who knows what amount or lack of ammunition and weaponry I would have had.
Your playthrough would look like what you've been watching now, because this is me without a guide, and I still vaguely remember things, so I sort of know what to do, but I'm like, I don't know what rooms are what.
Yeah.
So it'd look like a lot of room to room clicking on doors. It's saying you can't get in that room without this key. And you're going, all right, okay.
But let me tell you right now that here's one thing that I definitely would have done, and I bet that loads of if there's lots of viewers who played this game blindly back in the 90s, or even if they played it blindly more recently, but they had no idea what to expect and all this, I 100% would have ended up with empty ammo.
Yeah, and you would have picked up every item, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, I would have tried to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously inventory management is something that I probably would have clocked onto quite soon.
Yeah.
But what I definitely would have done was absolutely pelted every zombie with bullets. And I wouldn't have realised quickly enough that bullets are not at a premium.
Yeah.
But going back to what I was saying about having you as a guide for the final boss is, without you I might have had a lack of ammo or lack of weaponry, or worse, what I probably would have done, thinking back to that final episode, is I'd have taken with me loads of stuff from the item box that I didn't need, because I had no idea that the final boss was coming up.
Yeah.
This isn't a criticism, by the way, but what I thought was quite, maybe not surprising is not the word, but what I thought was quite strange was that I had no indication that we were at the final boss.
No, it's weird, isn't it? Unless you sort of know, there's no real...
There's not
way to tell.
Yeah, there's not like a bridge lead up to.
Yeah,
to
there's
that
not.
bit. But yeah, so like I said, small critique. That the final boss was a bit easy. I didn't really care, because at the same time, it was such like a rewarding, thrilling thing for me to be done with. But yeah, he was easy to deal with in the sense of just getting some distance and shooting, especially in the first phase where he doesn't do that running lunge at you. But I will give him bonus points. This is the BOW, the tyrant or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll give him bonus points for bitch slapping Wesker in his stupid sunglasses.
Absolutely knocks him
the
for
absolute
six, doesn't he?
prick. I knew it was him all along. No one wears sunglasses inside when it's dark. I pegged him as the villain from the moment we entered the mansion, and I was right.
What about what's the song? I wear my sunglasses at night.
Why do you know a song for everything?
Corey, what's he called? Corey somewhere.
I don't know.
I don't think he's a villain. Imagine we Google the singer now and it comes up Corey whatever done
Killed
for
150 children.
Yeah.
So yeah, 8.5, and again, I would like to calm the psychotic rage that some ardent fans might be feeling in defence of their beloved classic by saying that 8.5 is not bad, and it's not.
It's verging on excellent.
Well, yeah, as I say, it's not good. It is excellent.
Yeah.
Like 8.5 is excellent. I'm trying to do that thing where I know in yours I said Ocarina of Time was 10 out of 10 for me. That's without any journalistic integrity. That's me, just, all my nostalgic sentiment and everything for it, and my love for Zelda as a whole. It's my 10 out of 10 thing. I'm going to do that thing where, in fact, I wrote it. I I think that I would only classify 3 video games as a 10 out of 10, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's how I want it to be when we do this, and when, you know, if I continue to review games, I don't want us to be those people that shell out tens to just because
it's worthless. If you're, I don't know any sort of company that does this, but say like if IGN or whatever, if every game they reviewed got like a 9 or above, you just wouldn't be able to trust the reviews, would you?
No, exactly, and that's what I'd like. I'd like to discuss this with people in the comments. I'd like to have healthy debate about it and respectful debate about these things as well. So yeah, like 8.5 to me is like, do you know what we should do? We should create a scale where each number from 1, or we can either do 0 to 10 or 1 to 10.
We could do a scale, and we could do an
adjective
spreadsheet or something.
Well, yeah, but like each number has an adjective. Like 10 10 would be like perfect or masterpiece.
Yeah, I think I did try write it down. Obviously not for this, but I did try write it down myself when I was doing the Zelda one, and I got like a few.
For me, as like a draft, you know, just while we're talking here and throwing out ideas, like 8 would be something like great, and 9 would be incredible, or 9 would be excellent, or whatever. So in between those two, you know, it's excellent. I think the game is excellent. Like I said, I haven't played as many video games as you. I've still played quite a lot. Only 3 games I would give 10 out of 10 so far.
What are your ones that you give 10 out of 10?
My 3 ones. Yeah. So there's Ocarina of Time, but like I said, that is weighted with a lot of nostalgia.
Yeah.
I'd still give it 10 out of 10 anyway. I'll stick to that. Elden Ring and Red Dead 2.
Oh, nice. That's a good list.
And it's funny because if someone said, oh, name your top 5 favourite games of all time, they might all not even be in the top 5.
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time definitely would. No, in fact, they probably would. But my point being is that even if I give the game a 10 out of 10, it's about thinking...
It's about how that operates as a game.
Yeah, and how...
Not necessarily your enjoyment of said game.
Yeah, and everything that game's trying to do, it could not have been done any better.
Yeah.
I don't think you could improve on Red Dead 2 in any way.
No.
Even... I'm getting off topic a bit, but even if you want to indulge the people who are like, oh, the first half's a bit slow, maybe.
But it's supposed to be in it to sort of weight up the second half then.
Yeah, and also, who's got a problem with ambling slowly through that world?
Yeah.
That's so incredible and so beautiful and so filled with character and everything. But anyway, like I said, I'm getting off track. Hopefully that statement, anyway, that I would only give 3 games a 10 out of 10 so far in my life anyway, will temper the...
I thought I crashed it then.
will temper the indignation in your hearts if you love this game and this franchise as much as Cal does.
Do you know what? I don't think anyone, even people that die hard... Them crows are going to get me out there.
No, they only get you if you shoot them.
Yeah.
Because I shot them when I played.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Even die-hard Resident Evil fans of this specific Resident Evil have got to appreciate that this game probably wouldn't be a 10 out of 10. As a video game, it wouldn't. Like you say, as a survival horror game, it definitely would. But yeah, I think even die-hard Resident Evil fans have got to acknowledge that 8.5... if someone gave this game from a 7 to a 9, I'd be like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And do you know what? Also, though, I would welcome any conversation with anyone who...
Not this way, is it? This is the killer way.
Yeah, this is the thing. You pick up the key.
Yeah, I need the fake key, don't I?
I would welcome help, like I said, respectful and healthy debate with anyone who would challenge the whole, but it is a survival horror game, so if you say you give it 8.5 as a video game, but 10 out of 10 as a survival horror, but it is a survival horror, so it should be 10 out... Like, and if someone wants to defend that and then bring forward their argument as why it should be 10 out of 10 overall, look at that guy. Stab him in the head.
I can't hang up a knife on me.
No, have you not?
No, I'll put that away straight away.
What a sucker.
He don't look like he's aiming at him, does he?
No.
Does Chris not auto-aim?
Maybe not.
Have I got it turned off or something?
You shouldn't do, because you've got it on ultra easy mode as well.
Oh, it's not ultra easy mode.
It is, mate. I think you'll find mine... We called mine medium because that's what we thought it was, because it was the middle one, but it turned out that mine was easy.
Yeah, so yours is medium, mine is easy.
And number 1 was very easy.
I only put it on to mess about. Oh, pot shot in his back.
Tight that. I had a run round him because I'm cool. So I'd welcome that that discourse anyway, because I like having debate with people, and I certainly like having respectful debate with people who aren't.
Yeah, that's it.
aren't
If
knobheads.
anyone wants to have a go at us for any of our opinions, I don't care. But if you're happy to have healthy debate,
Yeah.
I'll more than welcome that.
But anyway, in conclusion, I don't look forward to any future experiences in the survival horror franchise.
I'll probably
genre.
just leave Chris here.
Yeah, you might as well, because I'm rounding off now. I'm finishing off. As I stated in the outro to episode 1, I hope that the viewers have not subscribed and have not liked on the back of any of our videos released, where I'm spending my Saturday nights literally on the edge of my sofa chair because I'm too scared to sit back and relax while playing these god-forsaken games. If there's great demand for people watching me shit myself while playing video games...
If you want to see Ollie play Outlast, Silent Hill, Resident Evil 2 through to 8, what other horror games are good? Evil Within's pretty good. Alan
Dead
Wake
Space as
is
well,
kind of a horror game-ish.
Dead Space, you mentioned, didn't you?
Dead Space would be brilliant, but the only worry I have is Dead Space is very, very similar to Resident Evil.
Well,
It's basically Resident Evil in space,
right.
whereas Evil Within and Outlast are kind of different.
Alan Wake seems interesting. It's more of like a thriller sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I think Alan Wake would be a good one to play. I do like it.
But yeah,
And the remaster came out somewhat recently.
if we get to the end of this series and there has been great demand for this,
Yeah, we'll become
And great
two
reception.
dads, one console,
One genre.
horror, one genre. Yeah, two dads, one genre.
then let me inform
Two
you.
dads, one genre. Brackets, and that genre is horror.
Let me tell you all that you're a set of sadistic tightwads, and you have genuinely ruined my life. If you're still here, you're an absolute legend. At the end of our Resident Evil playthrough, we realised there are learning points to take forward to improve the page and make watching along even more fun and engaging for the most important people, all of you. Stick with us, be patient, and watch us grow together with you. Coming up in the next series, Callum and I embark on our first co-op experience. That can't be an accident waiting to happen, right? Take care.